on, year-end review time. This has got to be the most technically complex video I've ever done. It's gonna have lots of flashy editings, a bunch of cameos, these 5 shots with nothing. Son of a bitch!
And with this introduction, PMRants presents... Number 5, Iron Man 3. Alright, it was either gonna be this or Thor the Dark World, but I didn't have a lot of expectations for Thor, but I was super excited for Iron Man 3. The trailers, the premise, the conflict, Jon Favreau not being the director. It all seemed so enticing and let the audience know that shit was about to get real. And it was all the more soul-crushing to discover that the film was... silly. It was okay, I mean, I probably won't see it again, but it was nowhere near the film I hoped it would be. I expected a darker story with the deadpan nature and humor taking a backseat for plot and character development. What I got was the movie having even more gags, clumsy autopilot suit, and stupid decisions being made left and right. I expected Tony Stark to utilize the Iron Man suits more than ever with his nanotechnology and the 40+ suits he built after the Avengers. What I got was Stark not even using the suit for 90% of the movie and being even more incompetent than ever. I expected a harrowing ordeal from the Mandarin leading up to a possibly grim finale. What I got was Ben Kingsley pissing off every comic book fan out there, Guy Pearce being just as forgettable as he was 10 years ago, and fireworks on Christmas, holy shit! Hey, don't blame me, blame the marketing department. They're the ones who set all this bullshit up to make Iron Man 3 look like something it wasn't. It may have been admittedly funny at times, and Robert Downey Jr. is as charismatic as ever, but everything else just falls flat on its ass. But worst of all, was that it was a sign to come that this was going to be the worst summer for movies in a long time. Iron Man 3, because fuck you, this was gonna make $1 billion no matter what we did. Number 4, Elysium. What do you get when you mix Sarah Palin with a Saturday morning cartoon villain? Jodie Foster in Elysium. Oh my god, your acting was so hammy, the fucking pig is still alive!
I cannot be more serious as to how floored I was by how exaggerated and forced this 2-time Academy Award winning actress's performance was.
I'm also not forgetting about the heavy-handed theming and symbolism, the not-so-subtle social commentary about financial and social inequality and universal health care, the oppression and unfairness that people living in poverty have to go through, and I don't mind those at all. I understand what the director was trying to convey here, but I wasn't able to lose myself in Elysium because, once again, perhaps during an important scene or instance, I caught myself thinking,
how are Jodie Foster and William Fichtner this bad? The fucking androids are doing a better job than the... Come on!
My immersion was broken because of the straight-up awful acting by most of the cast, and I feel as though it just didn't hit hard enough for me to care that much as District 9 did. I didn't think Elysium was outright terrible, but it wasn't anything special either. I just hope Neil Blomkamp takes this into consideration for his next project and does better with it the next time around. Number 3, Epic. Dead trailer. When I first saw the trailer for Epic, I thought I was going to be in for a real treat.
I figured to myself, hey, Blue Sky made a shit ton of money making those Ice Age movies. Maybe Fox will give them a bit more creative freedom this time around, so maybe they'll create something a bit more transcendent of animated movie fare.
The art style, the action, the character design, the promise of adventure and whimsy, that all certainly got me excited for Epic, and what did we get? A big steaming pile of meh. The action, meh. The story, meh. The characters, meh. Christoph Waltz playing a role he should feel at home with, meh. All the other characters in their respective roles, meh. The attempted comic relief, meh. The use of musicians and singers with the likes of Steven Tyler, Beyonce, and Pitbull. Okay, that was just fucking stupid, I hated that. Plus, there's that classical kids movie trope of magical wisdom, sort of. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. It's a double-edged sword in the moral department. Yeah, I get it, it's a work of fantasy and magic and it fits right in the setting of the film and the book it's based off of, but I hope people are smart enough not to take that out of context in reality, especially kids.
A lot of bad things can happen when people cling to invisible objects that don't exist.
Epic was just a boring slog to get through, which to me was actually a bit disheartening. Such potential, such wonder, such massive resources and talent at hand. Wasted! Wasted for attempting to obviously copy the Disney formula and ends up like Ron Weasley throughout most of Chamber of Secrets. Tacked on, and wherever they try to utilize that tried and true magic, it backfires in their face. Number 2, The Hangover, Part 3. God damn it, Todd Phillips! Why do you keep doing this to me? The trailer for The Hangover Part 3 gave me a sign of hope that you learned your lesson about not repeating the same fucking thing the last movie. I thought redemption was possible. I hoped that you would expand on the stories that established with the gang in a new adventure that didn't involve partying and retracing your steps again. I wanted this movie to be good. I really, really wanted it to be good, you son of a bitch!
Okay. I need to calm down a bit.
Well, it was something different this time around, I'll give them that. But what they did was take it from being a raunchy comedy to a bland, forgettable crime thriller that got pointlessly darker than it needed to be and felt like tacking on the jokes later. The characters are back to who they were in the first movie, and guess what? They don't change. Again. They don't learn anything. Again. Doug is out of commission for 90% of the fucking time. A fucking again. And someone should tell Ken Jeong that there's only so much of the stereotypical Asian character we can take before wanting to rip each individual hair out of our pores. And seeing how he's the main focus of the film, oh yeah, torturing your audience is definitely the way to go. Plus, they completely squandered John Goodman's talent. I don't think I can enjoy the first Hangover film again. I honestly don't think I can. It's like a hot girl you see in high school and you develop a crush on her, but several years later you run into her again and she's transformed into a corroded white trash whale who reeks of crystal meth. The third film is a waste of money, resources, and talent that could otherwise have gone to better projects. But do you know who is at fault the most here? Me. I let myself get swept up in the Hangover hype train again.
It's like that old saying goes, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, fuck you, Todd Phillips, you're dead to me!
And now, here are some other movies I didn't see, but I just knew were going to suck before they even came out. Scary Movie 5. Because we all wanted a fifth one, right? We all know that Nutshots, Lindsay Lohan, Charlie Sheen, and the 43rd Paranormal Activity parody is a box office draw, right? R.I.P.D. Men in Black meets Yu Yu Hakusho with the same buddy cop formula right down to the fucking T? No thank you. The Internship. Vince Vaughn, nuff said. Delivery Man. Vince Vaughn, nuff said again. The Lone Ranger. Skepticism met confirmation by critics, and there's only so much quirkiness Johnny Depp can convey before we just don't care anymore. A Good Day to Die Hard. When Bruce Willis doesn't care about being in his own movies anymore, that's when I stop caring to watch them. Movie 43. I actually think I should see this film, just to take notes on it. I could learn some real lessons on how not to write comedy and how not to be offensive just for the sake of being offensive. Getaway. Fast and Furious meets Taken with Selena Gomez and lower quality cameras and action and pretty much everything else. Don't judge me if I decide to pass. The Host. And the number one film of 2013 that not only disappointed me, but flat out pissed me off is Man of Steel.
Look, I'm just gonna be upfront with you guys. I was never really a fan of the Superman franchise. I mean, I never hated it, I never actively avoided it. I knew just enough about it to consider myself familiar with it. I saw the last film in the franchise that was about like 7 years ago, and I didn't really think much of it. But when the marketing campaign for Man of Steel started to gain steam, my anticipation for it had almost instantly skyrocketed to a fever pitch. The trailers and the promos, everything about it looked like this movie was going to be amazing. I thought this was the movie that was going to save the summer.
I'll give Man of Steel this. It looked good, and it sounded good, but the story was retarded. The fucking stupid-ass plot with all of its inconsequential set pieces, obvious masturbatory religious symbolism, obvious masturbatory military shoehorning, opinions and morals that not only go against what Superman stands for, but what any decent person stands for, the fact that Superman is really incompetent at what he does considering hundreds of thousands of people died and billions of dollars of damage was caused in the climax, plot holes the size of Kanye West's ego, and the revelation that Christopher Nolan might be digging his head deeper into his own ass. All of this mentioned above brought the entire film down to a smoldering pile of imploded fecal matter. To quote the late and eternally wise Roger Ebert, I hated this movie. Hated it!
Dear Warner Brothers, first of all, fuck you. Second of all, please do not let David Goyer write another script on his own again. He has proven time and again that he cannot carry a movie on his own. Please remind Zack Snyder that there is no need for another Michael Bay clone in this industry. And I think I speak for everyone who isn't a pretentious art snob that it is okay to say no to Christopher Nolan every once in a while. Dictated with much disdain for your craptastic Superman reboot in the most disappointing movie of 2013, PMRants.